left-hand side, a newly engaged guy there, Max.
Tell you what, the Corvette and the Pontiac have been running good at the last three-car shootout. They put some numbers up, and everybody was flying, too. The air was killer.
Day 2 of testing for Yellow Bullet. No, this is testing. Qualifying is tonight, finally. Okay, Joey Mack, soon to be Lori Mack, my brother Gavin, and Matt.
This video requires a lot of
Sorry, Steve. Okay, now here's the best part. Hi, guys. Hi. How are you? Soon to be Mrs. Schatz. So, here's the race car. We made one good pass on it today. The other one we spun. So we're hoping that the first qualifying we at least get, you know, something decent. Sorry, somewhere around 4 low 70s, 4 high 60s, since Fran already proposed that he didn't go 60s. Joey Mack's over there talking shit, which is what he's really good at doing. Nothing else, just talking shit. Yeah, so I don't know if I'll be able to film with this camera because I have to line Fran up, and it's just a lot to pay attention with the race car and all the people and the camera. So I'm probably just gonna film on my phone. So if it's low quality,
No, some people are going up.
sorry about your luck. Here we go.
Side, a newly engaged guy there, Max.
Tell you what, the Corvette and the Pontiac have been running good at the last three-car shootout. They put some numbers up, and everybody was flying, too. The air was killer.
Fran Schatz finally engaged. Him and KP, they have a kid together, and he proposed here today. It was pretty awesome at the YellowBullet.com Nationals.
Cool.
We'll see if
That'll make it memorable.
Corvette can lay it down with a Pro Charger.
Franny Schatz, a little bit of problems. Not a great 60-foot out of the car.
Steve asked me to do a little recap of Yellow Bullet since I actually ended up leaving Friday night. There's some issues with the car that I've had for a little while. It's really the only issue that I ever have with the car, and it just needs to get fixed right. It's a crank trigger issue. The setup that I have on there is it's kind of basically one of a kind. No one runs the setup that I have because I still have a serpentine belt on it. It's just literally got a C6 A&A Corvette supercharger bracket on it. Literally just we would bolt on any car that we put a C6 on. It's their bracket, still 10 rib belt, and the way we have it set up isn't right. And I have just a standard normal Innovators West balancer on there, and I have a Holley 36 minus 1. I think it's a 36 minus 1. Yeah, 36 minus 1 Holley crank trigger wheel on it. And then my crank trigger is mounted on a bracket that we made that basically points down like this. So the wheel is mounted on the front of it. Holley makes those wheels to basically bolt to the front of an ATI dampener because it's hub-centric. Innovators West is not. So we make it work on that balancer with the bolts that are holding it on. So when we put it on, we have to basically center it perfectly and then check the run out on it and make sure it's within 5 thousandths all the way around so that the crank trigger gap doesn't, change as the motor is spinning. And that's not necessarily the main issue. I think the main issue is on the crank, it just has a normal Woodruff key and it has 2 pins. And that's not really the correct way that it should be done on something with this high horsepower spinning this RPM. If you don't know what a Woodruff key is, here I'm going to show you. Woodruff key is basically this guy. So it has a little key in there and a key in the crank. And what I think I'm going to at least try to do before I put like a crank drive or something on it, I have to take the motor apart, I got to take the crank out, and I got to get the crank machined, and I'm going to double key it, and I'm going to put 2 full keys in the crank. That way there's keys all the way through it, as opposed to just one little half moon guy, because it's not the strongest. It has that and 2 pins in it. And that's fine if you're making, 6, 7, 8, 900,000 horsepower. But, when you start making 16, 1700 horsepower, spinning 9,000 RPM, and you're trying to spin the blower that fast, it seems like it's been giving me a lot of issues the faster I try and go. It's broke the key once. It's got the key and 2 pins in there, and at LS Fest, I don't know if you guys remember, 2 years ago, I think it was, something happened to balancer. I got a new balancer, and we didn't have the correct tools to drill the pins in the same spot and all that shit. So we just put the key in it. We just put the straight key in it, and I was like, oh, it'll probably be fine for 1 pass. It didn't last 6 inches before it broke the keyway. So instead of me literally trying to go down the track, like at Yellow Bullet, it was eating up crank sensors every time I made a pass. Like the wheel, basically what I think is happening is it's spinning, and when I try and spin a bunch of RPM, the balancer is basically going wobbling like this. And when it does, the sensor that's on the front of the balancer, but the sensor here keeps hitting the sensor, and it shuts the car off because it's not reading a signal when it touches, so it shuts the car off. And the sensors are like $200 a piece, so it was literally costing me $200 every time I tried making a pass. And regardless of the money, I can't be competitive like that. I can't get data like that. So if I was making full passes and the car was going semi-fast and I would just eat the fucking $200 a pass and I would just race, But I couldn't. Some passes it would last 300 feet. Some passes it would last, 600 feet. Some passes it wouldn't last 10 feet. So I haven't even pulled the car out of the trailer since Yellow Bull. It's been a month. So basically I have to pull the motor out of the car, pull the crank out, and I want to try some different things. I'll show you 2 things that I'm contemplating right now. I don't know if I can do this with on the shelf parts, or I'm going to need someone to make me a custom part. So I'm going to try and maybe put something like this on the front of it. This is made for an Innovators West balancer. So this will go on there, and then I'll just I'll use this, their bracket, and I'll redo something else for this. And this has its own magnets in it instead of a 36-1 Holly wheel, which looks like this. That's what I have on the front of it. So when the gap here, it knows where the motor is. So, so either do something like this with 12 magnets, or do something like ATI has this, and I'll put a whole ATI dampener on there. I just don't know if I can do this with what I have. So it's probably going to take a little experimenting, but that's the state of the car right now. It sucks that I'm having to find this out now, but it's... So I don't know if it's going to be custom or what I got to do, but it's just got to get done. I mean, it's my last option to try and save and make it still be a 10-rib belt before I just put a crank drive on it. If I put a crank drive on it, which I will show you guys for those of you that don't know, basically is driven directly off the crank pulley. So there's no belt. Well, there could be a belt depending on which one you got, but that's not the one I would get. But here is like a picture of one that just popped up like on Google. So basically, literally, this is the crank pulley. It bolts on this hub and shit like that, and the blower bolts right to it. So it's basically a gear drive. This is what I want to say 90% of people in my class run, but I think it's about 100% besides me run this setup. But in order to run this setup, like I'll show you just like right on ProCharger setup. So that's basically what it would look like. In order to run that setup on my car, I would have to change a lot of the shit I just did. Like my fuel tank that I just had made in the front wouldn't work, my titanium pipe, all that would have to get redone, which is the unfortunate part of just racing. When you change, you know, the thousands of dollars you just spent to get it done, you have to spend thousands of dollars more to change it. So I'm going to try not to do that. Plus, I get 100 pounds off running my serpentine belt. So I'm going to try and work with that now. Plus, if I do the gear drive anyway, I'm going to have it double keyed, and I'm going to have to do all the shit I'm doing now. So this is just the first step, the easiest step to try and like save me having to, you know, run a 10 rib. So I get 100 pounds off for that, and then I get 50 pounds off because I still run an independent rear suspension. So everyone in my class that runs my F1A94 blower is 150 pounds heavier than me. So, which if my stuff can work, then that's a clear advantage. You know, 150 pounds is a lot. You know, 50 pounds or something here or there, not really that much, but 150 pounds is actually pretty decent. So I just got to find some time to pull the motor out of the car and send it up to Weston. And I think cylinder 6 on my engine is hurt anyway. I think the injector was stuck and it like washed down the rings, and it's fucked up because after when I showed you guys before the compression test and all that the numbers came back some when we got it, like when we fixed the oiling issue with the little bolt holes and stuff. They came back some, but it's still, that plug looks different than all the other ones. So I'm just going to pull it apart, get it re-ringed, check the bearings, and just get it fresh. And then when we put it back in, hopefully the crank trigger issue is fixed, and then we can go racing again. But I mean, I'd like to have it back together maybe in a month. I'm going to try and see if Matt can either work on a weekend or stay one night, and we can yank the motor out of the thing and go from there. But that's the update. It's about all I got. I'll try and get racing as much as you can. Sorry, fellas and ladies.
We've got a quick baseline to do. 2019 ZL1 Auto. Kyle, you want to throw a first guess out there?
Oh, jeez. What is it? Red 650 and auto? I'll say 580.
Okay.
5.
That's a good guess. Solid. I will go 575.
What'd you guess?
It's 575. He had 585.
I'll go 560.
560. There you have it. So Matt is back finishing up that ZL1. Kyle has his next project, this Z28. Obviously the customer didn't want his plate to be shown, so I taped it off. Much easier than blurring every shot. What are we doing on this?
Clutch.
Okay, that's it?
Pretty sure. Yeah, I gotta go the slip, I guess, from the parts room.
Okay.
That's all I was told so far.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think clutch and tune actually. So this actually has a Pro Charger on it. So,
It does.
Yeah. Little P1X Pro Charged Z28. Pretty neat car.
I've never seen a Z28
You haven't seen one?
in person, no.
They're pretty rare. I mean, this is probably maybe like the 5th or 6th one we've had in since I've been here. So every now and then. LS7. Now, with the blower, obviously, it's pretty tricky for stock piston hold boost, but I don't know how long this thing has been running, done, how it is, but we're just here to put a clutch in and tune it. So we will see what it does, what the tune is like. Oh yeah.
It's raining dust.
All of the gravel. So, I think we talked about this before, but before you were here, this actually, when it came out, it was the only car under $100,000 that had carbon ceramic brakes. So it was the cheapest carbon ceramic option car of its time.
Really? I never knew that.
Yep. Useless fact for your day. We'll check out under the hood when he's got it down, but I'm not gonna bother him right now, so we'll check back with you.
Okay.
So Eric is finishing up the twin turbo 5th gen Camaro. It is looking good under here. Way better than when it came in. It's got that catch can on there. And honestly, I mean, I love it because it looks stock. Like, it looks like it just has a really long cold air intake that will dip down here. You don't see any blow-off valves. You don't see anything. I mean, obviously, once the bumper's on, you'll barely be able to see the intercooler, but that looks good. What do you got? Gauge or meth? Gauge. Okay. Oh, that's right. We're not doing meth on this.
Nope.
That's what I thought. My bad.
I'm gonna try to sneak this rear cover on here.
You doing P3 gauge?
Yep.
Nice. Yeah, this thing should rip. I think it's definitely going to need a wash before either the dyno or something, because it's pretty filthy other than wood air clean. But looking good. So Matt is pretty much wrapped up with this thing.
Figure out why it's doing it. Something's back.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Not that it's a huge issue, but we just need to figure out what's causing it.
You still gotta what? Do meth nozzles?
Yeah.
Okay.
Once I figure out how to get this pipe sitting half decent, which I think is gonna be it right there.
Okay. Let's check on this now that he's got it down. Pretty much getting wrapped up here with the clutch.
Just gotta bleed it.
I can help you out if you would like.
Ooh, Steve's helped today.
Yeah, it's a rare occasion. You better take it. Yeah, it's not bad. It's pretty clean. Bill, who'd you say did this before? Lincoln Felder?
According to the owner of the car. Yeah, I don't know what. Like, I don't know if it's got a cam and if the heads are fixed, but
It sounds like it's got a cam. We're just running, but
I haven't heard it run.
yeah,
Don't know.
I'd hope so to help drop the boost down if you want to make more power. But
It's got headers on it, so
I know.
it should have a biggish pulley on it, right?
yeah,
4-inch
still
stock lower.
P1X 4-inch. I mean, that's still gonna make more than 5 or 6 pounds. I'm gonna go with like 8.
Maybe.
Fran is flashing this thing. I'm gonna probably take it outside and wash it, clean it up. But it's kind of funny that everybody's working on black Camaros. 5th gen, 6th gen, 5th gen Z28. quite the drastic increase already. Up almost 200 off the bat.
That's pretty good.
This thing came in super lean. We found out later, I guess, the customer put the intake on after it was tuned.
Gotcha.
So
that would explain that.
Yeah.
Is this one that was like real lean or something?
Very lean. Like we made like I don't know, like pretty close to 3/4 pole maybe.
Gotcha.
And Eric's like, it's not getting better. I shut it off. I mean, it made torque is similar to what it said on the dyno graph in there. Horsepower is a little less, but.
Any idea who did the car?
Yes, I think Bill told me. I forget though.
Odd that they wouldn't have their name on the dyno graph.
Yeah.
Free advertisement, bro. Slacking.
Yeah.
Whoever you are.
Yeah, 611 to 799. That's pretty killer.
Yeah, it's pretty good. 5 more pounds of boost.
Yeah. We did ported blower.
Full stage 4?
Cam. Yep. Already had headers. Already had the lid, the intake, expansion tank.
We did a meth tank.
Already had the fuel system.
103 throttle body. Full cam package.
Oh, and an upper. It had a lower.
We did a 2.3 upper.
Okay. Well, still pump gas and meth right now. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Like this. That was first full pull, actually.
Yeah. Like, now, I don't think this is the stage X.
It's not. It's the normal blower.
Well, 201. Pump gas and meth. Last pump gas pull was that 828, 840 torque. We got about 40% E in it right now, 850, 858 torque. Looking good.